The background to this video, I want to use the words of a great song entitled "In Shady Green Pastures, God Leads His Dear Children Along." In just a few moments, we'll be making a musical video on old hymns of the faith, and I want you to, when it's put on the blog, I want you as my followers to listen. But this particular incident that happened in the life of J. Frank Norris, entitled "The Attempted Blackmail." Let me just read what he had to say. I have never told this before. I'm speaking of a quotation from J. Frank Norris. Only a few friends know about it. At 10 o'clock one night, I received a call to come marry a couple. It was rather a late hour for such a call, and it was from a certain section that raised my gravest suspicions. I took the number and found out it was not wise for me to go there, and I didn't go. It wasn't but a short time until I got another call to come and marry a couple, still later in the night, but I still didn't go. I was talking to a friend about it, and we agreed that if I got another call, I would go, and sure enough, after a while, I got another call. I can tell you exactly what the number was: 612 Calhoun Street. And of course, this was in Fort Worth in about 1911 or 12. I can tell you exactly what the number was. When I got this call to come marry a couple, and in view of things going on and from what I had heard before, I said, "All right, I will go." I asked for the names of the parties. They gave me some names. I don't know if there were any such parties. It was a cold night. I never said anything to my wife, for I didn't want her to pass it on. So I got hold of a man that I could depend on to go with me. But I didn't let this gang know anything about me coming. We went to that place. We drove by it 2 or 3 times, then we stopped. The plan was that he was to get out and stay behind a bush or a vine that was there until I needed him. I walked to the door, rung the bell, and a woman weighing about 225 pounds came to the door. I said, "Is this where a couple wants to get married?" She said, "Yes, sir, come in." She opened the door, and I stepped in, but I left my right foot against the door facing, and the door struck by my heel. She said, "Come on in." I said, "Where is the couple?" "Well," she says, "come on in and I will call them." And she caught hold of the door and gave it a shove. I said, "That's all right. I will keep my hand on the door. You go get the couple." She said, "This is my house." I could see under a crack of the door half a dozen or so feet of men and women. She insisted on my coming in. I called the man on whom I knew I could depend and said to him, "Come on." He walked he walked in and shoved that door wide open, and you never heard such running down the back hall. And there was nobody left but this woman and a girl. I called to the girl, and she broke into tears and told the whole scheme. 2 of the city detectives were stationed there, and 2 men in uniform on the outside. The scheme was this: there was nobody to be married. They were going to bring you here, and then, when you got here, they were to raid this house and take you to the city hall in order to ruin your name. Friends, that's blackmail. Well, I wasn't afraid of having my name ruined, and I'm not afraid now. I made up my mind not to let any low-down gang of underworld assassinate me or put me in a compromising position. I tell you this, the other side of the story. That strange woman in charge of that house, where she lived for 3 years afterwards. And friends, this is the culmination of the story. One night, bless God, that woman came and heard me preach and was saved. And I baptized her. And 1 year afterwards, I preached her funeral. I got the whole story from her. And friends, incidentally, That place of ill repute was owned by one of the deacons of the First Baptist Church. Friends, this is the kind of turmoil that J. Frank Norris faced almost without exception, and very, very often, by those who tried to ruin him and blacken his name. And that attempt, by the way, is still taking place. That's why that I, Roy, 92 years of age, am determined to leave a legacy favorable to that great hero of the faith, J. Frank Norris. Thank you, and may God bless America.